area, the midgets, the Pee Wee leagues or whatever, basically play with National Federation rules, which Ohio is a member of the National Federation, so we play with the National Federation rules. I believe Texas now is the only state in the union that uses NCAA rules for high school football. So most other states, Massachusetts used to be one of them, but they've seen the light and come into the National Federation fold. But in Ohio, there are a couple of there's timing differences. The lower grades do not kick off or free kick. So, and the numbering restrictions aren't as tough at the lower levels as they are for obvious reasons. Sometimes you don't have enough kids and you got to move kids in and out. So we have to make allowances for that, especially at the 8th grade and freshman and sometimes JV level. Yes.
We have another question.
I think we have a question from Logan Yelton. What would be I'm sure you've reffed hundreds of games, but the fewest penalties that you can remember in a game throughout your career reffing?
Oh my. I think we got away several years ago with just 2 fouls, and both of them encroachment or a false start or something like that. We've had as many as 24.
Wow.
And that wasn't
on one team?
No, combined.
Okay.
And that wasn't a well-played game, but normally 2 well-coached, disciplined teams, you're not going to have a lot of stuff going on. You may get the false start or you may get the encroachment, and those are just mental errors more than anything else. But 5 or 6, we've had games with just 5 or 6, and those games seem to just play themselves. And it's not anything that we did or ignore or whatever. It's just that there's just 2 well-played teams. That's it. I think Friday night we had a total of 6 in that game, and that game went to overtime. So it was just a well-played game by 2 teams that were struggling to have a winning record, but it was well played. So you get lucky sometimes.
We have any other questions out there? I think while we're waiting to see if we got a question, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Angie Wibbler, Gwinnett at home, recovering from a nasty injury, but definitely thinking about you, Angie. Hopefully you're listening, watching us right now.
I'm sure she will be.
Absolutely. So wanted to definitely give her a shout out there.
We may have a question behind
you.
You
got a question there. Yep.
Yeah, they were just wondering back there if high school football ever go to a spot foul like the NFL does. I know college doesn't do it, but
For pass interference?
yeah.
No, there's not a spot foul for pass interference in high school football.
Do you think they'll ever go to it?
No.
They'll ever go to it.
I don't think so. Not unless they're going to put 2 or 3 more officials on a game, and the finances with the high schools don't allow that to happen. So no, I don't. It's just too, for us, less than wise officials. Let me say it's they think that we can't handle something like that. So sometimes the rules are designed to keep it very simple for not only the players, coaches, but the officials too. So I don't think they'll ever go to it.
So you're saying that there's enough arguments, whether it's a pass interference or not, you don't want to throw in where it actually happened, where it occurred.
Stuff, and then it can get really hairy at the college level, because if the interference happens in the end zone, then we go to the 2 or the 3. I mean, it can get really sticky. There's a lot of, and as we discussed previously, there's over 250 differences between the high school rules and the college rules.
250.
250.
Wow.
Yes.
I like that there's a difference there too.
Yes.
I think there was a similar question that last week, and you said, I forget what it was, but it was because they don't have enough officials.
That's part of the reason why. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you said it'd be nice if you had 2.
If we had 7, if
so
we
you
had
have
a
extra.
field judge and a side judge, that makes it really nice. Now we're using 6, but the 6th one is used as a center judge, which basically puts 2 guys in the offensive backfield. Okay, but I would rather have them downfield,
Right.
just because of the type of game that's being played.
If
now.
you could have 2 guys in the defensive backfield,
Yep,
then
it makes it a lot easier on pass plays, things of that nature. Yep.
Right. You could cover both sides of the field.
Right.
I wonder if even your 6-man formation, with all the teams going to spread and passing becoming what it is, if you're going to get recommendations in the future to shift that way.
Well, yes, I would love to see that happening. The reason they put the center judge in the game now is because the coaches thought that there was too much holding and illegal blocking below the waist happening that wasn't being caught. Now, I I would disagree with that, but that's what the coaches thought. So, the OHSAA said, okay, fine, then we'll do this. We'll put the center judge back there and hopefully clean some of that up. Now, has it cleaned it up? Maybe, maybe not. I guess we'll have to wait and see what the coaches say once they get together after the season's done.
How long ago was that instituted?
It's been two years now.
Okay.
And now the regulations recommend that a crew of 6 work, where it used to be a crew of 5. That was a recommendation. So it's coming, but I don't know that I'll ever see more than 6 guys on the field.
They keep asking for more officials, and we keep getting a shortage of people coming out to actually be an official.
And the
so.
schools push back because it costs them each time an official steps on the field.
True.
Game fees.
True.
Sure.
Doug?
So inversely with that conversation of adding, what's the fewest number of referees that can call a varsity football game? Somebody gets sick beforehand, can't show up, or gets injured during the game.
And we had that earlier. We had to finish a game with 4. But there are mechanics for a crew of 3. I would hate to do a varsity game with 3. There are some lower level games that we work, junior high games, where we'll work 3. That's what they'll pay. Most games, though, below sub varsity, or they'll pay 4. They'll pay 4 of us. There are mechanics out there. If you had to go to 3, you could, in theory, work with 3. You get down below that, then the game's going to be done because you can't cover it. And you have a heck of a time trying to cover a game with 3.
We do have in the Rider Nation Station mailbox a question from Drew Paulus.
Okay.
And it's something that we did talk about before, Mark, but I think we should go ahead and answer this question. Knowing that in the state championship game, they are going to use replay.
Correct.
The question from Drew is, are the coaches able to do challenges?
I do not know. I've not seen anything come out from the OSHA office about how they're going to work that. My guess is that they will not at this time. I could be dead wrong about that. And if they do use the challenge thing, I'm assuming it's going to be 1, maybe 2 a half, and that would be it. They're just not going to prolong things as much as they are. TV just won't allow that to happen. And let's face it, there's not a lot of cameras at the state championship level. Not that there are like there are on a Saturday where the crew comes in with 10, 12 cameras. You're going to be looking at 2, maybe 3 cameras, and there's only so many views that you're going to get a look at. So it's a work in process, and we'll just see where it goes.
I thought I read that they were just going to, it was going to be an automatic review system from the box.
For certain
And
plays.
for certain plays, scoring
Could be.
plays. I don't think they had challenges in there, but I could be wrong.
It wouldn't surprise me if they wouldn't. They just take that off the coaches
Yeah.
and just leave it up to whoever's the review official.
I wanted to go back to, you talked a little bit ago about 3 officials working the game.
Right.
If for the mechanics for 3, is that 2 line judges and a referee umpire?
Well, if we're talking lower levels, yes,
Okay.
probably. But the mechanics state you have the referee, you have a head linesman, basically,
Okay.
and an umpire
Okay.
in the umpire spot that doubles as maybe a back judge. And if a play goes to what would be the open side, the referee and that umpire would cover that sideline, so to speak. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, even today with the lower levels, those kids are faster, stronger, and we just keep getting older, so it's tougher to do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3 men would be 1 man in the backfield, 1 man in the defensive backfield,
Yep,
and just
one
one
on the line of
judge.
scrimmage. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That'd be a tough way to cover that other side.
Would be very tough.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Do we have any more? Yeah.
Yeah, we've got another question coming in from the Rider Nation mailbag. This question is coming in from Todd Ryan, Las Vegas, Nevada, but he's a former St. Mary's Rough Rider defensive lineman.
Okay.
Now, he knows that the defensive linemen, their job is to stay out of that neutral zone when they're on the line.
Right.
The question is, how's the lineman determine if the offensive players are properly lined up? Is it where their hand is, where their helmet is? How does he know that they're on the line?
Well, defensive linemen are really only concerned where they are in the line. All right. So they know that they can't be basically over the football in that zone, in that 11 inches where the football is. Offensive linemen cannot break that neutral zone with hand, foot, helmet, or whatnot. So they got to keep all body parts and everything out of that. So that you should have an 11.5-inch free zone, so to speak, from sideline to sideline that you could look from one side of the field to the other with no obstructions in there. If you've got something going on now, the only person that can break that is the center. He can have his hand on the football, over the front of the football. He can even have his helmet in. Well, we allow him to get the helmet in the neutral zone, but no, most of them are pretty good and they keep the ball in front of them. So, it's just by knowing where you are on the field and where the ball is at. And quite honestly, they look down, they can tell where they are.
So let's say, for example, that you've got the tackle, he's out of the neutral zone, his hands lined up with everyone else, but his whole body's rocked back.
Right.
And he's 6 or 7 inches behind everyone else.
Right.
He's still on the line.
He's still on the line. Yeah, he's considered on the line if he's within one yard of the neutral zone.
All right, we have another audience question.
Good deal.
All right, Mark, it's my understanding that you're going to do a playoff game this weekend.
Correct.
How soon do you know if you're going to keep continuing to do those?
I know already that I've got a second week next week as well, and they put those out there probably about week 7 of the regular season. They will basically let you know what crew you're on and therefore how many games you have. We don't necessarily know where at that point, obviously, because of the teams and everything involved. And I won't know where I'm going next week until next Monday. Just depends who's winning and what crews are around and things of that nature. So we know we're working, we just don't know where. Okay?
Perfect.
Got another question here.
We have another audience question. Here we go with Mark Fellerjohn.
Hi, Mark.
Mark, if a team kicks a field goal,
All right.
what is the high school rule if they try a long field goal, falls short, team has a player back who catches it? Can they return it
Where's he catching it?
in the end zone?
Can't return it.
Okay,
Once the ball breaks the plane of the goal line,
okay.
it's dead, just like a punt, just like a kickoff. They do not allow players to run kicks that are still kicks out of the end zone. So even if it bounces on, let's say, the 3 and it bounces into the end zone and the kid picks it up in the end zone, as soon as the ball breaks that goal line plane, it's dead.
Okay.
It would be a touchback and would come out to the 20.
Okay.
So
So that's another one of those differences.
differences. College, depending on where they snap it from, you may come out to where it was snapped from. It may go to where the ball's dead. Just depends on what action happens. So anytime a kick breaks the goal line plane, whether it's bounced in there or on the fly, it's going to be dead.
Okay.
Okay.
Did Auburn's kick fall short of the
Right.
in the Auburn game?
Right.
Did the balls
Fall
come
short.
Did fell short?
Yeah. And
So that's
and-
why he was allowed.
correct. And if a field goal falls short, maybe the deep receiver comes up and he catches it on the 2. Well, he can go with it. It's just like a punt or a kickoff at that point. It was. I mean, and it was a heck of a heck.
How is it in high school?
Now in college, he could have caught that in the end zone and run it out.
And I think he was in the
and
end
he
zone.
could- yes.
Yeah.
But not in high school. Once it breaks the plane, ball's dead. It's a safety related issue more than anything else.
So to follow up on that question, if the defensive team blocks the field goal attempt,
Right.
they can pick that ball up. It's live.
If they block it and the ball remains behind the line of scrimmage, anybody can pick it up and go with it. So most of the time, it's going to be the defensive teams block it, pick it up, and that's certainly a live ball. Once in a while, you'll have an officiating crew that will lose track of what they're doing, and they'll blow something like that dead. That's a real issue, but that's a live ball. Block ball is free for all. Go get it and see what you can do with
But
it.
the kicker could pick it up and run with it as well.
The kicker could pick it up and run with it. Now, if the ball goes beyond the line of scrimmage, the kicking team can fall on it. They're not going to keep it.
It'll
They
be-
can't
right.
run with it, but they could fall on it. But if it's still behind the line of scrimmage, when somebody picks it up, it's free ball. Let's go. Yep.
And the field goal can only be returned if it's caught in the air on the other end. If a field goal's short,
If it's short,
it
short of
has
the
to be
goal
caught
line.
in the air. It can't roll around. It's
Oh
not.
no!
It's not
I mean,
a live
if
ball.
it bounces, let's say on the 5, and a deep receiver comes and snatches it and picks it up, it's like a punt in that
It's
case.
so it is a live
It's a
ball
live
then too.
ball.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It
Yep.
does not have to be caught
Nope.
on a short field goal.
Nope.
It can roll around the ground. It is a live ball no matter what, as long as it doesn't pass the goal line.
Think of it as a punt. Yep. In that
Perfect.
case. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
I think we may have exhausted all of our questions here tonight. I wanted to go ahead and do we have one more? Okay, we may have another one. So I just while we're waiting on that, wanted to remind everybody that we're here at Guarneri's Pub on Spring Street in St. Mary's. Wanted to thank everybody for coming out tonight in the pub. Wanted to thank everybody at home. be sure to check out Guarneri's if you want a great food, great time with friends.
Great deal. Yep.
Wanted to remind everybody else that we're going to be in Franklin, Ohio tomorrow.
Nice.
We're going to have the game live audio on our YouTube page for Rider Nation Station. And we're going to have the game then later in the week on TSC, the entire game with the video and everything.
Perfect.
So Rider Nation Station is going to be there tomorrow night in Franklin. We're hoping that the Riders win, and we hope we're going on to the following week. Joe Hurlburt and myself are going to be doing the play-by-play and the color commentary.
Good
So
deal.
really excited about that.
We got
One more
one more.
question.
All right, this question comes from Atlanta.
Atlanta,
Georgia.
Georgia?
Were there any calls that changed the outcome of the game that were questionable calls that you wish weren't called?
And in his personal life,
And in
his,
my personal, that
yours.
changed the outcome. Some coaches could argue that every call changes the outcome, no matter how minor they might be. Have we had stuff that we wish we could take back? Absolutely. Absolutely. I've had those. I've had those when the local coach was coaching a different team. That we wish we could have taken back. And as soon as I called it, I knew it was probably wrong. And he confirmed it the next week on the film, which he was good about it. I mean, it was good. But yes, we're not perfect. And sometimes you get a little over exuberant, and sometimes you see something you thought you saw but really didn't.
I don't want
Yes.
to dig too deep here, Mark, but is there one call that sticks out in your mind of a pivotal game that just eats at you? And
No,
okay, good, all right.
none. I mean, you got to let that go.
If there was, I'm glad you
If
put it
there
far
was,
away.
I'm not gonna talk about it, but I really
Yeah,
don't.
no.
No, it is what it is, because truthfully, sometimes we can't figure out why coaches call what they call either. So, it works both ways and whatnot. I'm not doing that to be mean. I'm just saying we're all human, and the
Right.
kids are human, and everything else. So
And you wouldn't be able to do this long if every little
Right.
call ate you up that
correct.
much.
And if I could interject, I mean, we've had that same or similar question posed before, and you've indicated that you're not opposed to picking the flag up and waving it off when you
Right.
throw it and you realize you've made a mistake.
Right. Yeah, no, if we realize something's wrong. In fact, in our game Friday night, and this is very minor, we had a situation where we had a flag for one of the kids appeared not to have his mouthpiece in, and the mouthpiece being in a proper position is required equipment. And the flag came out, we stopped the play, and it was a quarterback on one of the teams, and he said, "What's the deal?" And he said, "Well, you don't have your mouthpiece in. It's stuck up here on your helmet." And he opened his mouth, and he had another one in.
That was an
So
extra
he had
one.
a decoy, if you will. I don't know. So we picked up the flag. He had the right equipment, picked it up, and on we went. And we subsequently made him get rid of that other mouthpiece,
okay.
because we didn't want to have to deal with that again. But, and that was our fault for not noticing. But, he tried to, and he forgot about it. So we went on.
So we got a comment from a viewer, Paul Carmine. Shout out to Paul. I think down in Cincinnati area. Trivia question and types. The last time the Riders went to the state championship game, in their path, the Riders played a team with a future Division I running back who was actually hurt. Who was the running back?
I can tell you.
I have no idea.
That was in 2004. It would have been Dayton Chaminade Julian, and it was Javon Ringer. He had hurt himself the week before we played him on a watering spigot on the
okay.
practice field.
Okay.
And then he ended up playing for
Michigan State.
Michigan State,
Yeah.
and I believe the Tennessee Titans a little bit. So we won by a couple, maybe one touchdown or 10 points or something like that. And I was pretty fortunate that Javon Ringer was not on the field that
Probably
week.
so.
Was that correct?
Yeah, Paul says money.
All right, all right.
Yeah.
He just got, just happened to be my senior year, Paul.
And Angie, thanks you for the shout out.
We thank her and we thank Guarneri's again. I don't think we have any more questions
All right.
tonight, Mark, so I think
Good
we're going to
deal.
wrap it up. Hopefully we'll be back here again next week, Thursday night, 7:30 at Guarneri's. For everybody at home and here at Guarneri's, thank you. Go Riders. We'll see you next week.
This episode of Rider Nation Station has been sponsored by American Manufacturing Solutions, your total logistic partner, investing in the St. Mary's community.
Even though the music on the patio has come to an end, Guarneri's would like to thank everyone for joining them on the patio on Friday nights. Though the music has ended, stop in and try their signature Big Ralph sub, pizza, or calzone. Guarneri's on Spring Street in St. Mary's. Give them a call at 419-394-2244.